One of the people that's been up to this constituency to support David Davis in his campaign against Big Brother is a Tory MP called Ed Vaizey. Ed Vaizey is a original, at the foundation, signatory on the statement of principles of an organisation called the Henry Jackson Society. Henry Scoop Jackson, as he was called, was an American Democratic senator who had a view of the world that mirrored that of the neocons in the Bush administration that I've been talking about. People think that because they control the Republican administration now in America, they must have been spawned by the Republican Party. No, no. Many of them, including Pearl and these people, were aides to the Democrat Henry Jackson before they jumped ship to the Reagan-Bush administration in the 80s and then got the power to take over this Bush administration. So Henry Jackson represents everything the neocons stand for, which is, as the Henry Jackson Society talks about, if necessary, taking military action to impose democracy on countries that they say are undemocratic, and for what that means, see the invasion of Iraq. Ed Vaizey, like I say, was an original signatory. And he is a neocon, as they call it, a neoconservative. Now, what is a neoconservative connected to the Henry Jackson Society, which, as we'll see in a second, fundamentally connects into the Project for the New American Century in America and the American Enterprise Institute, which is the sister organization? What is he doing suddenly opposing Big Brother when his network had created the problem which is justifying Big Brother? These are the international patrons of the Henry Jackson Society. Richard Pearl, Douglas Feith, William Crystal, Robert Kagan. Crystal and Kagan were the co-founders of the Project for the New American Century that produced that document which has played out ever since in death and slaughter and conquest, which has justified the introduction of the Big Brother state. They are involved fundamentally with the Henry Jackson Society, and Ed Vaizey comes up to support David Davis against Big Brother. I think there's more to know here. Also in the Henry Jackson Society, James Woolsey, Project for the New American Century, Director of the CIA. Sir Richard Dearlove, head of MI6 across the period of the invasion of Afghanistan and Iraq. And this guy, Erwin Stelzer, head of the Rothschild Bank at one time, scholar at the American Enterprise Institute, and now with another neocon offshoot called the Hudson Institute. And David Davis has been paid by both the Hudson Institute and the American Enterprise Institute to speak at their events. Coming up to this constituency before the polling on Thursday is this man, Michael, I am a neoconservative, from his own lips, Gove, another shadow minister in the Cameron administration, Conservative administration. He was also an original signatory to the statement of what the Henry Jackson Society stands for, statement of principles as they call it. And he's coming up, like Vaizey, from the same organisation to challenge Big Brother for David Davis. This man's talking on behalf of David Davis. Colonel Tim I Support Davis Collins, who became famous for his military operations in Iraq. Guess what Colonel Tim I Support David Davis Collins put his name to? He was an original signatory to the Statement of Principles of the Henry Jackson Society, which connects into the Project for the New American Century and the American Enterprise Institute in America that orchestrated the invasion of Iraq and the war on terror, which is being used to justify the Big Brother state. Patrick Mercer, Tory MP, been in this constituency supporting David Davis against Big Brother. He is a consultant for Blue Hackle, which is one of these private army security organisations which connects with others to create connections of private armies that are being paid by government to operate in places like Iraq. He's went on a fact-finding mission to Iraq, paid for by an organisation called HEART, that produces and uses the very Big Brother technology that David Davis is saying we've got to stop. He was paid, this is this guy, he was paid with his expenses and his flights and his hotels and everything to go on a fact-finding trip to Pakistan and Afghanistan by this security organisation called the Saladin Group. And this is from Saladin's website. This is what they do, just part of it. Saladin can provide surveillance services to organisations and individuals in order to gain evidence during an investigation. Saladin's staff may have many years of experience in covertly following surveillance subjects to obtain information on their movements, activities and contacts. This includes both mobile surveillance in vehicles and static surveillance in a fixed position. Patrick Mercer, connected to these organisations, was in this constituency a few days ago to support a challenge to Big Brother. And the Freedom site set up by David Davis wasn't set up by David Davis at all. It was just his address suddenly appeared on it. It was originally set up by this organisation, Fleischmann Hillard, who are operating worldwide, and among their specialities increasingly is manipulating countries to accept identity cards. This guy from this organisation, Paul Borg, he was the man who actually set up the David Davis for Freedom website. And this is a little start of an article in The Independent on Sunday. A spin doctor, Kevin Bell, he's a major executive of this Fleischmann Hillard, a spin doctor behind David Davis and his much vaunted freedom campaign against the creeping state surveillance, is an influential figure in the worldwide promotion of identity cards, The Independent on Sunday can reveal. I tell you what, I'm bloody glad I decided to come here. I really am. And so what we have is now a twin point of everything to do with Big Brother in terms of opposition between David Davis and Shami Chakrabarti. Shami Chakrabarti was a Home Office barrister from 1996 until September the 10th, 2001, the day before 9/11, when she became head of Liberty. She's an alumna of the British America Project, described as a junior Bilderberg, which was created to promote British-American relations and is sponsored by Monsanto and a stream of American corporations. She is a governor of the Ditchley Foundation, which you'll find in this book from 15 years ago. And it is connected into the Bilderbergs and that network we saw earlier. And that was created to promote British-America relations. Now, I'm not saying she's knowingly manipulated. I don't know that. I'm not saying it's not true. I'm not saying it is true. I don't know that. But what we've got here is the manipulation of a situation in which establishment figures, because whatever she might say, she's an establishment figure, and so is David Davis. Establishment figures are hijacking, for whatever reason, the Big Brother opposition that is being introduced by other parts of the establishment. And as a result, narrowing the debate so people like me and the information that I'm talking about today don't get access to it.